All right, guys, back with you again. Again, apologize for the earlier technical issues, but we seem to have got everything resolved and straightened out. So I want to give you the quick demo as promised of not just the consumer app, but the new driver app as well. We'll start here with the consumer app. One thing that's nice about the app for our customers, they can create an account or they can just log in with their existing information, like Facebook, for example. So virtually with just a touch, they're able to create an account just that quick. So just like that, I've created an account now. I'm going to put in an address. And as soon as you notice, as soon as I put in an address, it pops up with all of my options for what restaurants are available. And I can choose here, I can choose when I want it, the item to be delivered. If I want it ASAP, or I can choose a date in the future. But for our purposes, we're going to go as ASAP. I'm going to save that. And for our purposes, the only restaurant we've got available to us right now is Big Four Cafe, but you can scroll through and you can see all the other restaurants that you can choose from for future ordering. So they click on the restaurant. All of the menus are now characterized or put into categories by a heading type. That way they can easily get through the entire menu without having all this information spewing at them at one time. So they can go and say, oh, I just want to get a dinner entree. Boom, I can click directly on that. And let's say we're going to build our own burger. And of course, their choices pop up. They can choose their temperature. They can choose what kind of bread they want. And let's say they want it with French fries. And I can add that to my cart. And then if I go here and take a look at my cart, I can see all of my options there. Also, as a customer, I can see the estimated time of delivery. I can put notes here. And of course, I can choose how I want my food to be delivered. Do I want to meet them at the door? Do I want them to leave it at the door, or we will meet you outside? All of those three options, of course, that'll show up on your app, so you know exactly what to do. And then right below that, it says I can add items from the e-store, which of course are bottled drinks. So I'm going to go ahead and click on there and add a cherry Coke. And I'm also going to add a Mountain Dew. And go back to cart. So now I see in my cart, I've got my 2 drinks added. And I'm going to select the method of payment. And I'm going to choose cash just for the purposes of this demonstration. Obviously, we do not accept cash. That remains the same. But I want you to take a look at this as well. Notice how the gratuity is in whole dollars. They can choose 3, 4, 5, 6, and automatically populated at $4. The reason that if the order is less, if their subtotal is less than $20, it's going to give them a whole dollar instead of a percentage. The reason is that's more money in your pocket, because on $13 of food, 10% is only $1.30. 20%, which is a normal tip, well, that's only $2.60. And as you can see, all of these choices are greater than $2.60. But if this number goes above 20, and I'll show you that, I'm going to go back and add some more food to my cart. Let's add appetizer to go with that burger. I'm going to get me some dipping shrimp. So now that my food total is above $20, now notice it goes to percentages, because now 20% is actually a pretty decent tip. If I go 20% now, as you can see, that's a $6.53 tip, as opposed to before that was going to barely be $2.30. So the app is looking out for you, making choices for you in mind so that you can get the largest tip available. So as a consumer now, I've made all my choices. I'm going to go ahead and place this order. And I forgot to type on there. Hopefully dispatch, before they send that order to the restaurant, they'll type on there that this is a test. Do not make this food. And so as a consumer, so this is what I get immediately after that. Okay. A map is going to pop up. And as we were talking about previously, they'll be able to track their order via this map. Tells them that the order is confirmed. Will notify you when Big 4 Cafe is preparing it. And it'll arrive between 5:59 and 6:09 p.m. And then right below, we'll notify you when your driver is picking up the food. Of course, it gives them a recap of what they ordered. Now, I'm going to run over here to the driver's app. I'm going to log in here real quick. Now, of course, you would already have done this. You'd already have logged in when you started your shift. So when you log in, you get this screen here that shows, it says no current orders, because you've just logged in. Nothing's been given to you yet. But I can go over here where it says change status here in the top right corner, and I want to go with check in. That means you're ready to take orders when you check in. Okay. Now, normally when you check in, you get a splash screen that should pop up. I'm going to put it on break and do this one more time. You should get a pop-up that asks you, are you sure you want to check in? So let me do that one more time. And maybe that was one of the changes that they recently made. At any rate, when you check in and you're good to go, what you want to do, the first thing you want to do is go right here to this chat box. And there you go. There's the pop-up I was talking about. Are you ready to get orders? Please double check your location settings and message me back that you're ready. So the first thing that you want to do when you check in is go to the chat, send a message to dispatch saying that you are ready for orders, or that you're ready to go. All right. And you just hit send on that, and that pops up, hey, I'm ready for orders. That lets dispatch know that you're in position, you're ready to go, and then they're going to send you an order. So let's go now. I'm going to scoot over to the restaurant app so you can see that side of it. So you place that order, and once that order is confirmed by dispatch, they've looked through it, made sure everything is good to go. They're going to send that order to the restaurant, and as you can see, it just popped up, a restaurant order. It's got the ticket number, 1994. It's supposed to, and then it says here, right here, and this is to the restaurant, it says to the restaurant that you, the driver, are going to be there to pick that up at 5:52 p.m. Remember this time. We're going to come back to that in just a second. Okay, so pickup time is 5:52. All right, so I'm going to click back over to the driver's app, and I'm going to have dispatch go ahead and assign that order 1994. Go ahead and have them assign that to the driver, and then you get a pop-up that tells you. And this will pop up as a text message, tells you that that you have been assigned this order, and you can communicate with the customer via this phone number, and that number right there, 812-214-1875. Every time you see that number pop up, that is the way that you can communicate with the customers. Okay, so now this order pops up into your app, and you can see right off the top, you'll see that this is the restaurant you're going to. This is the customer that you're taking it to. That's your order total, and it's an ASAP order, should be delivered between 5:59 and 6:09, and it tells you please accept order. So if I click there, it's going to take me inside the order now, and now I've got all the important information right up top, right? Tells you when the order was placed. It was placed at 5:59. It's an ASAP order, and the driver will pick this up at 5:51. And again, the quoted delivery time is 5:59 to 6:09. This should look familiar to you. You can choose directions to the restaurant or call the restaurant. You can choose directions to the customer or call the customer right from there. If I scroll down a little more, I'll see special instructions as to meet the customer outside. I've got the food items that were selected. Right here, I can see it says e-store items. That's where you're going to see your bottled drinks, okay? It's going to show up saying e-store items, and it's right underneath their food items. And then this would give you the payment details. Most of this won't matter to you. Obviously, everybody pays with a card. We don't take cash. But the part that's highlighted in green will matter to you because it's telling you what you're going to make. It's telling you the tip's going to be $6.53. Your driver commission from the delivery fee, in this case $3 for $9.53. So you can go ahead and accept that and ask you, are you sure you want to accept this order? Boom. So now the order has been accepted. Now let's go back to the restaurant really quick.
New order.
So that's
order. New order.
That's the annoying sound that the restaurant will hear.
Order. New order.
And they have to accept that. And once they accept that order, okay, once the restaurant accepts that order, that's when everything goes into effect. Remember, this used to say 5:52 or 5:51. The reason it's changed to 5:55 was because the restaurant has just now accepted the order and started preparing the food. And that 3 minute, 4 minutes in between when the restaurant hadn't accepted yet, that's going to change your pickup time. That just gives you some idea how dynamic the system is in terms of calculating and figuring how everything is supposed to work. So now this pickup time is at 5:55. Let's click back to the customers app. And let's see if anything has changed there. It hasn't changed anything there, but it does tell the customer that now that the restaurant is accepted, it says Big Four is preparing your order. Okay, so now they know that Big Four is preparing the order. I'm going to go back to the driver app. And now, if you saw that purple shows up, now I have the opportunity to mark this as arrive when I get to the restaurant again. That's no different than what you're used to before, okay? Also, too, just so you know, right here in this top right corner, that is the current status of whatever order you're working on. It'll always have that current status there. So right now it's at placed, meaning that the restaurant has placed the order. When you get to the restaurant, you're going to say arrived and ask you, are you sure? You're going to say okay. And notice now the status changes. You get a pop-up on your device saying that the status has changed to arrive. And let's go take a look at our other two players in this. Let's take a look at the restaurant real quick. I don't think, they get a pop-up too. It says the driver has arrived. So that in some ways can help, at least if the restaurant's looking at it. Now they know that you're there for that order. So that may help you in some cases. And let me flip back to the customer. And once you've said arrive, now the customer gets who's picking the food up. Now their update on their device says Terrence is at Big Four Cafe picking up your food. Okay. And let's go back to you, the driver. So you've got there, you've arrived. Now it tells you, please check all your items. So I'm going to check this. Yep, I picked up the burger. I picked up the dipped shrimp. It's important now, guys, that you pick up your sodas. I'm going to request at least 99% of the time, if not 100% of the time, that you pick up the sodas before you go to the restaurant. You want to pick up your sodas before you go to the restaurant. There may be some situations where that might be a backtrack situation for you, or you might be by the restaurant already, but I still want you to pick the drinks up first, and I'll show you why here in just a second. But once you've got all of that done, and now I can say I'm going en route, okay? So just like before, you mark it as en route, you're heading to the customer. We're going to let this update, and a pop-up pops up on your screen. Now check out this text message this time that pops up. This text message popped up. The first time it said, you've been assigned an order, and it tells you you can communicate with the customer via this phone number. So that 812-214-1875, that creates a link between you and the customer, so you can send messages directly to the customer inside this or reply to this text on your phone without actually giving the customer your phone number. And then the second text comes that says to the customer, and it's just telling you what that message said. The customer got a text message, said, "Hi, this is your driver, Terrence. I'm on my way, should be there in 1 minute. Let me know if there's any additional drop-off instruction. I'll be there soon." Now notice how that says 1 minute, because the system, again, is taking into account, according to Google Drive times, it knows that you can get from Big Four Cafe to the sale guy in 1 minute, and it's putting that information up there for the customer. So this is basically telling the customer, hey, I'll be there soon, get ready, okay? So let's go back and look at the consumer app again, and look at that. So now it's showing, it actually starts to show the customer's car, the driver's car on that map as soon as you hit en route. And so that's going to take me back to two other things that we just talked about. One, I told you at the top of this, you don't have to worry about us or customers, for that matter, tracking you. Your location doesn't show up on the map until you engage in this like this. Okay, so you can leave your location on all the time, and it will not. Your location won't be displayed until it's activated. And this is also the second reason why you want to pick the drinks up first, because if you pick the drinks up after the food, the customer sees you go by the sale guy every single time you deliver to their house, and they're probably thinking, well, where are they going? I don't live that direction. I live over here. So to keep confusion down, and so that customers aren't going, hey, are you lost? You turned the wrong way. That's why you want to pick the drinks up before you go to the restaurant. And when you leave the restaurant, you're going straight to the customer's house. They're looking at you on the map, making sure you're going the right way. And then, of course, you can see what the message says. Terrence has picked up the food from Big Four and is on the way. He will arrive. They give you that. And it says here, get ready to eat. Okay. And then this updates. You may have just saw the screen flash. This updates every, I forget, but let's say every 1 to 2 minutes, it updates to keep your progress, to keep the customer rather updated on your progress. So let's go back to the driver app one more time. So now you've made that long 1 minute drive, and we're going to go ahead and mark this as delivered. Actually, I'm not going to mark that as delivered because I don't want this order to go all the way through. Just know that at this point, when you mark it as delivered, the customer gets another update that says, hey, you've arrived. Dispatch, do not cancel this just yet. I want to wait for one more text message to pop up. So when you mark it delivered, it just lets the customer know that you've arrived. If you need directions to the customer's location, again, this hasn't changed. This is just like before. You just click on direction. It'll ask you which navigation app you want to use based on what is on your phone. Whatever you have on your phone, it's going to ask you which one you want to use. I'll say I want to use Apple Maps. And then it says, hey, do you want to remember this? Yeah, I want you to always use Apple Maps. And it'll bring up the best way to go using whatever you have on your phone. Okay. All right. So I'm going to leave this here for 1 second. There's one more thing I want to show you while we're waiting for that pop-up. I'm going to go right over here to reports. Reports is what I was pointing out to you earlier. This is where you can keep track of anything that you're owed from the company. Up here it says you owe. This will always be zero, folks. This is because I did these examples using cash. This will always say zero, but then over here it shows you what the company owes you. And down here in order details, all of the orders will show up here, and you'll either see it, it'll either say unpaid or paid, right? So we pay every day, but for 2 days in the rear. So those orders that are in the rear are going to show up as unpaid, and orders that you have been paid for, they would have a green paid by them. And then you can actually go into each one of these orders and see exactly what you had been paying. Something too that I want to point out that is a difference, that is a departure from the old, from the app that we were using, is about signatures and tips. It will not prompt you to get a signature, okay? And you do not have to get a signature. But the same rules kind of still apply. If you want to use that as an opportunity to get a tip at the door, you can do that. Okay, in other words, you look at the app, it says no tip, you get there, doesn't look like they're reaching in their pocket to pull out any cash. You can still use that. It'll show up at the bottom of the order. It'll show up at the very bottom of the order where you can request a signature, and you can still use that to try to get a tip if they did not tip you. But it is not mandatory. You do not have to do it, okay? So the biggest thing I want you to know, it will not pop for you automatically. That's going to be on you, whether or not you choose to, if you click that button, and it'll ask you, first of all, if you do click that, it'll ask you, who did you deliver to, right? Was it the person who placed the order? Was it the sale guy? Was it a family member or other? You just click whoever, you hit confirm, and then it gives you an opportunity to do the signature or whatever there, okay? And then you save it. And that's how you can do this. If you, again, you don't need to do that. That would just be in the situation where, you did not get, lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. Well, that there wasn't a tip on the order ahead of time. Okay. All right. So that pretty much is everything, guys. I will, hopefully this all made sense to you. Dispatch, you can go ahead and cancel that order. But hopefully that all made good sense to you. If you have any questions, you can hit us up. You can use the chat to place any orders. Oh, and this is what this was what I wanted to show you here. Look in this chat there. You can see right there that there was a message that came to you that said, what is your ETA on dropping off the Big 4 Cafe order, right? Because I never hit delivered. And the system realizes that, hey, it was only supposed to take you 1 minute to get there. It's been more than a minute, and the system's going to ask you that. Now, even though it sent that at 5:44, right, but the delivery time was supposed to be 5:59. So even though it's not late yet, it's not sending you that message because it's late. It's sending you that because it knows, based on Google Drive time, how long it should have taken you to get there. And if you're not there, you're going to see that pop up. All right. Well, again, that does it for this. Hopefully that all made sense to you. If you have any questions or anything, reach out. Let us know.